Welcome back, NFC East fans, to Clashing Conferences podcast. I'm here with the regular crew. We got Greg representing the Eagles after a big win against the Cowboys this week. We got Randy
Huge.
representing those Cowboys. We got Paul with the Washington Commanders, and we got Chris Topher Pete rocking with the New York Giants still. So big week. I'm assuming he's still rocking with the Giants. We'll find out here shortly. But a big
Hakeem
week
Nicks,
in
baby.
week 9. I already mentioned the big win by the Eagles there. We had the Giants getting crushed by the Raiders 30-6. And then we had the Commanders squeaking it out against the Patriots 20-17. That's covers for the Eagles and the Giants. Or I'm sorry, covers for the Eagles and the Skins last week. In our internal competition, our point categories last week were most interceptions, which was won by Paul's Commanders with a whole 1 interception, the only interception in the entire conference this week. Poor showing. Longest touchdown also won by Paul's Commanders at a giant 33 yards. Another fairly poor showing by all 4 teams there. Quarterback rush yards goes to Philly and Greg with Hurts, 36 yards. Not exactly the highest, but a fair showing there. Nothing overwhelming this week. Season scores, we have Greg at 11. We have Randy and Chris tied right behind him at 9. And we got Paul with only 4, but you doubled up this week, buddy. You went from 2 to 4. So got to start somewhere. So this week, I want to start with Paul. Despite the big Eagles win, Paul last week not only got a team win, but he crushed it in the internal competition. He crushed it on his picks. He went 3 for 3 on his picks. He's the only person here that did that last week. He also called Washington for interceptions. He said longest touchdown will be a crapshoot, which it was. Everything was low. And he called the quarterback rush yards coming out of the Philly-Dallas game. So Paul certainly had a heck of a week, not only with his team, but with our competition. And why don't you lead off, buddy?
Yeah, I think that calls for a guest appearance. So give me just a second here. I want to take a minute. I want to talk about a very important topic, and that is ACLs. ACLs. I have never heard of a bigger bum-ass ligament. There was nothing good about an ACL. Nothing good has ever come out of an ACL. No one has ever saved a life because of an ACL. Those stupid things do nothing but tear. And you know what I did after I tore mine? The very next day, I showed up at the charity event for the children. What does Daniel Jones do? Sits there and swims in his pile of money like he's Scrooge frickin' McDuck. You know why? Because Daniel Jones is a bum. He is the ACL of ligaments, the ACL of body parts right there. So,
love it.
So, yeah. Well, we could start with the Giants. Get this over with quick. You know, you should have picked up Josh Dobbs. He single-handedly became, in one game, the 5th greatest Vikings quarterback of all time. You know,
he's going to get them in the playoffs. Watch that. Watch out.
I mean, Wentz went today. Who's left? You going Matty Ice? You going someone else? I mean, I think you should look at Matt Barkley again.
Trey Lance is always out there.
There you go. So about the game, it was looking pretty darn dismal. You know, if you're looking at the stats, it was pretty incredible that you really only had like 60 yards less. You know, you had the same amount of first downs, more time possession, but it's the big difference was those sacks. You said you had a defense, you didn't. They didn't do anything, and of course, in typical Giant fashion, gave up 8 sacks in very inopportune times. You know, Danny DeVito, out there. Yes, I said Danny. Danny DeVito out there. You know, I thought we were going to have another -9 yards per game after his, 1 for 3 for 11 yards and 2 picks. My man went 12 for 17 for 164 yards and a touchdown. I think you might have a franchise quarterback on your radar there. So
you answered your question. That's probably who's going to be starting the rest of the year. I mean,
why
waste your money or do anything? I mean, why? You're 2-7, like,
especially if you're just going to
blame.
if you're going to still try and still get the number 1 pick and take Caleb Williams for next year and create a controversy.
Typical Giants fashion is they'll end up taking a defensive end with that overall first pick. Just what they'll do.
With character issues. With character issues. So we'll move
find
on
out
to
where their
the
heart is.
Move on to our game. It wasn't, pretty at times. Sam Hell threw his typical 300 plus yards, had his typical rookie interception. That was a bad one.
At the end of the half, yeah.
Yeah. The announcers were all over him as usual. It's those where you got to hold them and you know when to fold them. Should have just thrown it away. To Chris's point, all year, Terry was the leading receiver in receptions and yards, as well as getting the run game established. And what do you know? The passing game opens up a bit. The game really probably shouldn't have been as close as it was based on the stats. But again, it's very opportune times to turn the ball over, opportune times to go 3 and out, things like that. So that was the story of our game. If you look at it, we had over 100 yards more than they did and barely squeaked out at the end, and easily a couple of plays go a different way, and we definitely could have been embarrassed and lost. But speaking of embarrassing losses, this was an embarrassing loss for the Eagles. The only winner in that game was America. The Eagles did not win that game. The Eagles played awful, and you deserve to lose. Dak Prescott threw more yards than your whole team had rushing and receiving. The only reason that you won is because Dak Prescott, just like Kirk Cousins, is Dak Prescott. If you leave it, he's literally the opposite of Tom Brady. You give him 2 minutes left to win the game, you've got zero chance. I'm taking the future on that every single time. I'm betting that every time. You had well over 100 yards more coming from the Cowboys. And I know we're going to talk about the refs. We're going to get into it. The penalties were the exact same. You both had 10. And the yardage from those penalties was actually higher for the Eagles.
Yep.
Now, again, like everything else we've talked about, this will be the third time I say it. It's about the opportune times for these penalties that may or may not have been beneficial to one team or another. And I may just kind of be trying to feed into that. But I think we had a great week. I look forward to talking about the next week. Don't really care what Chris is going to have to say because it doesn't matter. But I appreciate his blind loyalship. But we can pass it to somebody who was supposed to. And I was right about the game being close. Both of you said that it was kind of going to be a blowout. Randy defined blowout as I think 3 points or something. I don't know. He was kind of confused, but it was a pretty good game to watch for sure, going back and forth. So, one of you two, I want to hear what you guys think about it.
Go ahead, Greg.
You want me to go, or Chris? You want to go in and talk about your Giants real quick?
You want me to just break it down real quick?
We'll leave the big game up for the finale
too.
Then they're going to take a couple minutes. I agree with Paul with a lot of things. I guess we're kumbaya again, Paul. I mean, Giants, first of all, I didn't think Jones should have played. I don't think he was healthy. He proved it. He had he just went out. They went right out. He tried to sling it. He went deep a couple times to Hyatt. He overthrew him one. He underthrew him one. He had a bad play to Barkley on a little swing pass. He just didn't look right. Corey actually came over and watched the game with me. That's fun. How often do the Raiders and the Giants play? And then they do, and he comes and they smoke us 30-6. But we both suck. We both suck.
Raiders versus Danny DeVito's Westchester University, huh?
And we actually almost went to this game. In the offseason, we talked about going to this game, and I was like, man. And he was like, I still would have been hyped. Well, yeah, it's 30-6, dude. Of course you would have been hyped. But Jones didn't look right. And that's what I'm saying. So last year I was pumped, coach of the year. This year, he's everything he did last year was gold. This year, it's he's not managing the injured players right. He lied about Graham Gano. He lied about Saquon Barkley. Daniel Jones wasn't ready. They pulled Daniel Jones out after a run. They asked him about his leg. Nobody wants to sit out of a game. He just missed 3 games. He said he was all right. They put him back in. Crosby almost hits him. It looked like he almost hit him, but Jones fell down. And then the very next play, they come back in. He snaps it, steps back, puts a little pressure on his foot. He drops back. Falls to the ground, same deal, done. Done for the year. Greg texted, you think it's over for him? I don't know what's going to happen, man. They didn't have to sign him. They chose to sign him. They didn't have to give him a contract. They didn't give him his 5th-year option. They decided to pay him. Now what do you do?
His cap is $60 million next year, and he won't be ready for training camp either.
He's not starting. So what are you going to do? If you're going right now, you got the 4th pick. If you get the 2nd pick, if you trade up, they'd be lucky to win another game this year.
Maybe you should try and draft a Tar Heel instead of a Duke Blue Devil next time.
And
honestly, get some Drake May.
And honestly, if you do take a quarterback, which one do you take? Do you take the kid from Carolina, or do you take Caleb Williams? Which one do you want? I don't know.
Whichever one you think is the right one that eventually will be the wrong one. That's
and
the
it
one
has to be
controversial for
and
me.
it has to be. You have to think he's that next guy, because you're not. You just paid this dude. You have to be 100% if you're going with one, in my opinion, or you don't take one.
Yeah.
I don't
My
know.
opinion is you don't take the kid that ran to the sidelines, went up to the crowd, and cried to his mom. I don't take that kid. I take the kid that's standing on the field, that looks across the field, that says, "God damn it," and gets pissed and wants to come back and fight some more. That's the guy I take.
I agree, and that's why I didn't hear where Paul was going with that, but I should have known it had to be a dig against Daniel Jones. But I don't even. You guys, we should just get off the Daniel Jones topic, because at this point, I feel bad for him, man. I feel bad for the kid. It's they ruined his career. They set him up to fail from the. They even say it. They agree to it. It's bullcrap. But on to the game. He gets hurt. The veto comes in. It was a rough start for him. He actually got a little the line, got some people back. It started looking a little better. He made some nice throws. He's not a quarterback of the future, but I say roll with him. It's a disaster. I don't know who's playing. I don't know what's going to happen this week. Waller's out for a few weeks. I know we're going to get smoked. I think we're 15 points, underdogs.
16.5.
Yeah, 16.5.
Probably not going to cover, unless Dak does Dak things like he does in the 4th quarter or in the last 2 minutes of a game.
He's been known to do it.
So yeah, the Giants, it's tank time. It's time to wait and see. I'm going to get my popcorn ready. I don't know what they're going to do. I'll move on to the Eagles-Cowboys game. If you look at the stats, you think Cowboys should have won the game. Dak had 3 touchdowns, 375 yards. Lamb had 191 yards. Ferguson, 91 and a touchdown. Tolbert looks like your next up-and-coming wide receiver. He's surpassing Cooks. He's surpassing Gallup. He had 49. He had 49 and a touchdown. Hurts had 207. He did have that rushing touchdown. I think he had 3 touchdowns, right? He had 2 passing, 1 rushing.
Yeah.
Brown, you hold Brown to 66 yards. Did he get a touchdown? I think Brown got a touchdown, right?
No.
Smith got a touchdown.
Yeah.
Smith had 51 and a touchdown. Parsons, 5 or 6 pressures, 1 or 2 sacks. I mean, if you look at the stats, you think Cowboys should have won the football game, but they didn't. Eagles did it again. And Greg, I'm going to say it finally. I don't know if it's just all being defeated. I feel like my season's over after 9 weeks, after thinking it was going to be a good year. Last year, everything went perfect for you. Nobody really got hurt. Easy schedule. Luck of the draw in the playoffs. You didn't win it. That team, I didn't think they were going to win it. This team's pulling games out. They're gritty. Guys are getting hurt. They're not doing things perfect. They're finding ways to win. They probably should have lost this game against a team that they're going to have to face again in the playoffs. I don't know. I think Eagles could do it this year. This is the type of team that could do it. That's just my opinion.
What you got. Some of those scrappy wins. I mean, if you're not used to being able to pull out wins that you may not deserve, you're not going to know how to face that adversity in the playoffs if you start having a down quarter or a down half. You're not going to be able to come back.
You almost sound like I've been saying that for the last 3 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, you might have said it, but I'm trying to tell you, I'm calling it like I see it.
There's no way you can say the Eagles are a better team this year than they are last year. Last year they could put teams away. This year they can't hardly win.
The situation
now, schedule up until last week was the easiest schedule in the NFL.
But they are winning. I want to do my real quick on the Washington and Patriots.
I don't think you can say hardly win at 8-1.
They're 8-1. Yeah, they're winning. They're squeaking out games and figuring out ways to win. Figuring out ways to win, not lose. They were trying to give that game to you guys. You just couldn't do it because your quarterback just makes dumb decisions.
Because referees in every Eagles games, I swear they'd be 5-4 or 4-4 if it wasn't for the refs this year.
Yep.
Am I supposed to do my analysis of the Washington Patriots game? You want it? All right. Yeah. Well, Skins, Patriots, I don't think either team's really that good. I wasn't worried about either of these teams. I wasn't worrying about Washington without Daniel Jones. Now it's a different story. I mean, you'll probably smoke us. I think everybody will beat us here on out. Patriots was another team like the Raiders. I didn't think, I wasn't worrying about the Raiders. Our defense didn't do nothing. Where's this defense that was holding people to 11 points a game and getting all these sacks and all these pressures the last 3 or 4 weeks?
Yeah.
I don't know if it was like a kind of like an Eagles moment when they should have been running the ball against the Jets. I don't know if they just thought, we could do something different. We're good. I don't know. I told you I kind of like that O'Connell. He looked good. He was like 9 for 10 in the first half. He played well. He's a second. That was his second start. I don't know why Wink didn't attack him, but point of the story is that's what I think the Patriots are. Like I thought we should have beat them. I thought we should have won a few games in a row if we were healthy. Washington went up early. They just had a couple big plays to take the lead. Hal threw that pick. Then there was a bunch of punts. The game got really boring in the second half until that last drive. And then I think you had a rookie secondary guy intercept the ball to win the game.
Yeah, it was tipped.
That's how
it was tipped and then right into his hands.
Yeah,
otherwise, they were driving. They were right about to tie it up.
I think prior to that, there was like 5 or 6 punts in a row after a pretty decent first half. I think Hal threw that pick at the end of the half, and then nobody really scored again until, the end of the game there. But, I don't know. There's not much to say about that game except for the fact that I thought the Patriots were going to win. And Hal, he's a young kid. He puts a lot of yards up, man. I respect what he's doing. I like him. I'm back on the Hal train. All right, fellas, it's your moment.
Oh, I don't know about moment, but my. How about them Cowboys, baby? Fly, Eagles fly on the road to victory.
They enjoy it. You're going to have to see it at least once or twice
Eagles fly. You know what, Randy? I was going to try to be nice to you tonight, but God damn it, how about those Cowboys? Woo! Those cockroaches.
Mm-hmm.
It was a great game. It was. We got on. We talked at halftime. It was a close game. Neither of us were talking trash. We were kumbaya. We were holding hands. I even gave you a hug, smacked you on your butt a little bit. And then
a little tush push.
Second half, tush push. And then second half, it was a good game. It really was. I know exactly what you're going to say. The officials this, the officials that. Paul hit the nail on the head. I mean, it's, I think we each had 10 penalties, close to 100 yards. Now, if you were to tell me last week we were to have 10 penalties, 3 fumbles, and we still win by 5, 6, whatever it was, I would have told you you're full of shit. We got, I don't want to say lucky, but we got we won.
I'll say lucky.
You can say lucky. That's fine. We're 8-1, and I'm loving every second of it. I think the best part about all of it is Dak did Dak. Dak is what Dak is, and say the officiating this, the officiating that, and it wasn't just Dak. It was the biggest moment, the 2-point conversion, stepping out of bounds. It's like, oh my God! It was the tight end didn't run a deep enough route that he was down at like the inch line. Was
grabbed a little early too.
He was grabbed early. I will say that. Reed touched him early.
And the lines got repainted at halftime.
And the line, yeah, exactly. The lines got repainted at halftime. I thought the game overall went well.
Have been bad. I don't know.
Yeah. Again, bad officiating, I believe, both ways. I think there was a couple calls that went our ways, a couple calls that went your ways. I was frustrated. I think we talked about it at halftime with the low hit. Apparently, you're allowed to hit quarterbacks in the knees now. That bone bruise that was bruised came back and reared its ugly head, and it did affect Jalen. I think the thing that made me the most frustrated was the Dallas Goedert hit. If you take back and you watch that play, look what that safety does. I mean, I think that there's just cheap shot after cheap shot in that game, and it goes both ways. I get it. It put Goddard out for 4 to 6 weeks, and that's what's frustrating to me with that. I think the biggest thing what everybody is overlooking is, I think the Cowboys only scored 6 points the second half, if I'm correct. So they scored a touchdown. That was it. They went for 2 and missed it. And our defense, as ugly as it looked, as bad as Nakobe Dean looked, and the middle of that field was wide open, and you guys took advantage of it. We got no inside rush, which gave Dak 2, 3, 4 seconds.
Sacked him 5 times though, didn't you?
No, I think we had 2.5, 3 sacks the whole game,
Yeah,
and
I thought you had more than
they
that.
came. I think they came in the second half. Brandon Graham had a hell of a game the last 3 drives, and again, just Sirianni, and I don't know if it's Hurts or Sirianni with the play calling. We're 3rd and 3, and he throws a go route to. I don't get it.
The whole last drive, I don't know how you guys felt, but that stupid, like when Brown ran into Swift and he almost fumbled and all that nonsense. Like, why did it? You could have just did the push 3 times and wasted time. Like, I don't understand why. Like, what was going on there? Like,
and I don't understand if it's Jalen hurt or Jalen calling out of the plays or opting out of the play call. I don't know what it is.
Tyrod Taylor.
It's happened a couple times. It happened to us in a couple games this year. Washington, the same thing, and it's aggravating. Dude, I really thought I was going to have a heart attack during that game. It was extreme highs, extreme lows. I was like, "Holy cow!"
Oh, the days I missed those.
And that game took forever.
Maybe next year
because of all the flags. If I wanted to see that much, if I wanted to see that much laundry, I'd go pick my clothes up from Randy's mom's house.
Very cute.
Oh yeah,
very cute.
Yeah, but you talk about the last drive itself. I think we had a pass interference call on Bradbury, didn't turn around. We had a roughing the passer call. We had like on Hick or Reddick. I mean, there was a lot of calls, and it's just like, oh Jesus, we're gonna lose this game. And then the exact opposite happened. Dak did Dak and didn't spike the ball. He ran a couple plays and just time management and the detail.
But Greg, I look at it. You watch everything that happened the last drive. And like honestly, besides the fact that Dak drove 80 yards in 50 seconds, and then there was a penalty of a delay of game or whatever it was, I mean, it was a good drive. There, I would have said, like you said, Dak did Dak.
There was a pass interference call though in one play that put you at like, but that was
50 yards. Yeah,
but my point.
That was 85% of the yards that you picked up.
They made it the whole way down the 11-yard line with 30 of those seconds left. I mean, you say Dak did Dak. He that last drive, he was near perfect, and like I don't even think he really made a big mistake the last drive. Sure, he was sacked right there at the end, but
you got to get rid of the ball. You have no timeouts.
It's 25 yards to go. I mean, it's like asking him to do a Hail Mary almost. I mean, it's not quite that, but you got 25 yards and a play or two left to do it. I mean, you're probably going to throw a pick or take a sack. Out of all the stuff I saw, for once, I actually, again, just like the Chargers game, I felt like Dak was actually, in my words of my boy Topher, balling. And I feel like he was actually doing pretty good. But finish up on them other 2 games, and I'll jump in.
Okay. All right. Quickly, I didn't watch any of the Giants. I didn't watch any of it. Have no comments on that. I just saw they got blown out. Sorry, Chris. Danny with the ACL. I do feel bad for him. I really do. I think your team put him in a tough spot. I do. I feel horrible. I think that team put him in a bad spot, and I think he was set up for failure. I don't know what they're going to do in the future. I mean, as much as I hate the Giants, I wish him the best of luck. But it's horrible. I did watch a little bit of the Washington Patriots game. I lost money on that game. Thank you, Washington. I honestly thought that Belichick was going to pull it out. I think they had a chance at the end, and I see a lot of Mac Jones hate up there. And if remembering the play, I think it got tipped by a New England player. It bounced off his hands. So, I mean, I don't know if it's all Mac Jones. I think Belichick has lost the team. And that's a shame. I don't like the Patriots. I don't like Belichick, but he is a coach. He's a great coach. So I respect him. So it's going to be interesting to see if, Chris has any truth, if there's any truth to that rumor Chris heard about him in San Diego. But my guess is he's going somewhere. I know Robert Kraft probably is not happy right now. So
rumor is that if they don't beat the Colts in Germany, he could get fired this time next week.
Yeah, we're going to start seeing that next couple of weeks. That's for sure.
Well,
all right, Randy.
I'm going to start with the Giants game. And Chris, I'm not going to rip on Danny Jones this week. I feel bad for the guy. I feel like actually for the first time
Can't
In a
rip on him.
long
He's already
time.
torn up enough.
That's true. For the
Or
first
get
time
it?
in a long time,
Go one.
I'll agree with you. Danny Jones would have done better in the backup quarterback. I'm sorry. I don't think Danny DeVito's a guy that should be starting another game. I think they need to find somebody else to finish out this year that at least gives him a shot at a win or two and a little bit of hope for next year. Because right now, if Danny Jones doesn't start back, I'm sorry, you don't have receivers. You got a tight end. Your running back's getting old. Your defense is iffy. There's nothing. Your offense, as Paul said, should be put in prison. Your offensive line. There's not much to look forward to. I feel like
I
the
called that, didn't
Giants.
I?
I feel like the Giants have to figure out a way to end at some sort of positivity this year, and that is not with that kid that they got throwing the ball right now.
I mean, like Paul said, I mean, his third, I mean, he got, I mean, trust me, his garbage points and Raiders are not that good. Like
Yeah, no, but
he
neither are the Giants.
he played decent enough to put some yards up. He looked better. They let him throw the ball at least.
Yeah,
All I'm
but
saying is, why bring in somebody else? Like they signed
like
Bart.
I said,
Tyrod will be back.
I feel
Don't
like you
waste no
got to give
money.
a little bit of hope to this team at the end of the year. Again, I feel like I'm the only true Giants fan here. Paul, as far as you go, I'm the only person in this group that called your win besides you. And I called it about, I think, exactly as it was, a 3-point win, or at least I think it said it was going to be close, but you guys are going to win. Got predictions for you for this week. Sam Howell, I think, is doing good. I don't understand why the as good of players as you guys have on your team, your coach does not want to get the ball in the hands of your playmakers near enough. Your running back, the young running back, I don't understand why they're not giving it to him. He is doing awesome. Gibson was even tearing it up this week, and I just feel like they just again they just continue to drop back and drop into these no-name wide receivers when you got pretty good. I mean, Dotson, I don't want to say he's a bum, but I mean, Terry was open from some of the replays I watched. I was watching the Cowboys game, but Terry was open a couple of times, and it's just like Hal is almost, I don't know, almost scared to go there because I feel like it can be a bigger play. Terry can be deeper sometimes. I don't know. Anyway, I like what I see with Hal. I think it's going to be an interesting addition. I can't wait till I can hate on the Washington Redskins again or the Commanders. They've just been piss poor for so long. I end up feeling bad for them rather than hating them. But we'll
Yeah, I know
see.
it's been just decades between the last time each of us won a playoff game, just decades, or like 3 years. A hole. Either
Actually,
way, you're coming up on 30 years here pretty soon. So I don't
hey,
want
we
to
won
hear
one
it.
last year. I don't want to hear it. Anyway, on to the Eagles. My
Yeah, and
man.
Dez caught it too, right? Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, that's
my,
right, Steve.
my man. I got to tell you again. I mean, yes, it was a really good game. That was probably, I said it earlier in text message, for my team to lose against who is the quote unquote number one team in the NFL. I'll take that loss any day of the week. Very easily could have won that game. One play, two calls could have gone differently and we would have won the game. Yes, I agree. There were some calls that went against Dallas. I think that goes to say this Eagles home officiating team is terrible. And I read it on Yahoo this week is the NFL has got to start looking into the Eagles officiating crew. I mean,
Damn.
this
I didn't
is
know Yahoo was even around anymore.
of course it
Google
is.
bought everybody.
No, but
Did you
again,
What did Bing
you
say? Did Bing say
did you
anything?
did you message them on AOL?
Yeah, he
Yeah.
did.
again,
Did you put one of the CDs
again,
in?
we got at least two home games this year for the Eagles that there were blatant, obvious calls made that were game changing calls. And again, this is going back to, like I said, the Super Bowl with freaking Bradbury grabbing. I mean, at some point, somebody's got to say, hey, what is going on? I don't know if it's going to have to be freaking Roger Goodell or somebody's got to look into what's going on because there is play call again. Cowboys, like we all said, played the better game. Like you said, Paul, in the end of it, they made the mistakes at the worst time that the Eagles did. I don't disagree 100%. And in this game, bad calls against the Eagles, but I agree there were bad calls both ways. But I don't think I've seen games that are consistently called bad, not necessarily always for the Eagles, but in Philadelphia as much as this. And somebody's got to look into. I don't. I know
You
it's
can lead
easy.
the charge. Do it.
I
You
know
got
it's easy
this.
to say this. All that being said, you're 8-1. How are you 8-1? Some bad calls, some close games.
Yep.
I
Hey,
don't know, but well, what do you call that? What do you call? Are you proud of the 8-1 record?
Oh, 100% proud of the 8-1
And
record.
why are you proud of it?
Why
dude?
not? Why am I proud of it? Because
Yeah.
any team can win any Sunday in the NFL.
So you said earlier,
That's right.
You said earlier, a win's a win, right?
I say a win is a win is a win. Absolutely.
Okay,
In
so
the NFL.
then I'm going to go back to Dallas won 5 Super Bowls, and you keep going. Well, that's ancient history. A win's a win, sucker. We got 5 of them. Count
It
them.
is,
1,
but
2, 3, 4, 5.
what is relevant in
Oh,
2023
so a win's
is
not
not
a win. I'm
relevant in
just making sure. Are we saying a win's a win or not?
1997.
Are we saying a win's a win or not?
Listen,
Because this
we
goes both ways. You
literally
can't have your cake and eat it too.
we literally fought about this for 45 minutes over text message.
I
The
love you
point that I'm
talking
trying
about
to
eating
say
cake,
is
Randy.
What's that?
I love you talking about eating cake. I can totally picture it.
Me too.
the point that I'm saying is you have what 2-3 playoff wins in 30 years.
So a win's not a win? Is that what we're saying?
Yeah,
You
all
can't
3 of
have it
yours are
both
wins.
ways.
Yeah, all 3 of them's great, Randy. Good job.
There we go. All your 8-1's great. Good job. I can say it too. My point is, Eagles fans love to talk about, oh, you can't count those wins. Those wins are in the past. Well, then I can say that your team isn't winning very good.
Let's
And
put
I
this
don't
in
think that's something
perspective.
to be proud of.
The last time Dallas Cowboys were
I would
good and
love to
relevant,
be 8-1 right
I
now.
used a VHS VCR. My son doesn't even know what that is. He has no idea what a VCR is.
The last time Dallas what?
Was relevant and a good playoff team.
Okay, like last year they won a playoff game and lost to San Francisco. I mean, I feel like they were a pretty decent team then.
Dak lost to San Francisco.
Sure, Dak lost to San Francisco. Hey, getting back to the game a little bit. Quit.
Well, he doesn't want to talk about that.
14 seconds and
Quit
running a
shit talking.
draw.
I will say
Did he
this.
audible into that?
Again,
like Tyrod did?
again, I am the first person. You guys have heard me criticize Dak. I'm the first person, but I will say again, the Dak that played the Chargers that played last week against now I'm drawing a blank, but beat them 40 to whatever it was, and then this week played the Eagles was a Dak that again was a baller. And going forward, you guys got to play the Cowboys 2 more times, at least one of them not in Philadelphia. I feel like you guys you're gonna have to be playing quite a tough team again. You know, you're saying about the injuries and stuff. There was a lot of physical playing going on in that game, probably more than the Eagles have played all year. And
now we got to buy the rest
at least 2 more times this year. Well, at least
you
one
say
more,
2
maybe
more.
2 more.
I was going to say you've said 2 more a couple of times. I'm like, you know, it's if we are the number 1 or the number 2 seed, and right now you are the 5th seed in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
So like, you know what I mean? So I don't know.
But who's? I mean, yeah, any team can win at any given time. But right now, sure, Detroit looks pretty decent. But like, besides that, San Francisco's laying big eggs.
And
Seattle
just picked
looks
up huge defensive lineman for help.
Yeah, but their quarterback can't even move the ball down the field. You got Atlanta.
Don't forget about Dobbs in Minnesota.
Oh, there you go. I guess that's there, but you got Atlanta who looks like crap. I don't see. I mean, on a consistent basis, any team can win any week, but on a consistent basis, I can't see. Unless you get Trey Lance.
Yeah.
But I rest my case.
Yeah, thanks, Stuttering John. I think that's a good segue into our on our break there.
I got to give Randy props on 2 quick, very Nostradamus-like quotes last week first before we get off here from previous week. He said last week he predicted 30 points for the Cowboys if not for the refs, and 23 points, and a lot of talk about a pass interference penalty on the 1-inch line there. I got to say that seemed pretty Nostradamus-like. And the second one, to your own downfall, you said, every time I believe in the Giants, they let me down.
And I believed in them. Go figure.
And you did. So there you have it. I think that wraps up week 9. We'll be back soon to look forward to week 10.
Daniel Jones train. Going to whatever team he goes
Welcome
to.
back
I knew you weren't a Giants fan.
Part 2 of the Daniel Jones train. Looking forward to week 10 of the NFC East. We got 2 matchups this week. We got the Philadelphia Eagles on bye. We got the Giants going to Dallas, and Dallas in a very, very big spread there, favored by 16.5 points. And then we have Washington going to Seattle, and Seattle favored in that one by 6.5 points. In our internal competition, we're down to our last two spots in the wheel, which are rushing yards for any single player. No Daniel Jones jokes this week, I don't think.
No.
The second one is the host prop pick. And we're actually, since that fell to the last wheel of this kind of set of wheel segments, there's going to be two host prop picks. So what I'm going with this week is, for the first one, we're going to do the opposite of one that we did earlier in the year. Defensive expected points. So the Vegas line for Seattle is expected to give up 26.5 points. If Washington can hold them to under 27 this week, Commanders will get a point. Giants are expected to put up a whole 10.5 points per Vegas. So if Dallas can hold them to 10 or less, Dallas will get a point there. And Dallas is expected to put up 27.5 points. So if the Giants can hold them to less than 28, get a point there. Give you guys all a chance to make up a point on Gregg this week with a category like that.
Doesn't it suck, Greg?
Huh?
Doesn't it suck?
Does.
Everybody gets a bye week. It's all fair. Our last category, second host pick, is going to be something that I run as a pool every week in my gambling group. First to score a touchdown. So the way that's going to work is there's two games. You know, if one team runs a kickoff back, they are more than likely going to be the first team, fastest team to score a touchdown in any game. They will get a point for that week. Something kind of random and arbitrary that can be equal for all. And we'll see who gets the fastest touchdown of the two games going in. Let me see who went last time. Randy, why don't you lead us off? Looking forward to week 10.
So I think I'm getting into this Giants Cowboys game. I actually think the Giants are going to figure out how to do something this week, and I feel like they're going to cover the spread. So I feel like they're going to get a point for that stupid 10.5, ridiculously low, whatever. But I do feel like now they've got a week that they know they got to get this rookie quarterback going. He's going to be under center practicing all week. I don't think they're going to beat the Cowboys, but I feel like they're going to show up actually, and I feel like they're going to be a little bit of a surprise, to be honest. But
I'm already down and out. Now you're going to jinx them because you're
there we go.
Believing
At the very least,
again.
I believe in them. So
Are you sure you're
so
not a
that
Giants fan?
So they get stomped this week. That's why I'm believing in them. No, I mean, as far as the other one was, what was the other one, Mike? Prop
First
bets?
to score a touchdown or rushing yards. Any single player.
That's a crapshoot. I mean, I think the Cowboys have the advantage in that, but that's who knows.
Why do the Cowboys have advantage of that?
Just they got the better offense out of you two teams. I'll put it that way. And we're playing probably the worst, least quality defense.
Tony Pollard has had a stellar year, though, right?
He has been terrible. Again, I didn't like Zeke. I really don't like Tony. I mean, it's not that I don't like Tony. Tony just is not a 30 carry, a ball carry game. He's a great mix up with a good running back. He's not a good first running back. Yeah, I don't know. Then we go to the Washington game. I think that Washington's going to win that game. I think again, I feel like they are a much better team than Seattle. I think they're more rounded. Howell is coming into form. Sure, the New England game could have been gone either way. Geno Smith is looking absolutely horrendous. I know it's in Seattle. They came off of a loss, but I feel like in the end of it, Washington's going to come back with a win. I'm just going to pick one more game because I don't want to just pick two. But the Detroit Chargers game, what is the spread on that, guys? Anyone?
I mean, if you would have asked me in the pre-show instead of
Sorry.
live.
Yeah, way to go. We're live. Detroit -2.5 at LA.
I'm taking the Chargers on that one. I think the Chargers are going to upset. I think they're going to maintain their number 2 spot in the NFC East.
The what?
Where are you pulling teams and conferences from?
I'm sorry. Chargers are going to win that. Detroit is a good team, but I think Chargers are going to win that.
Who's in the NFC East?
Detroit. One other prediction.
What?
I feel like this is going to be the most fairest ref week in the NFL because the Eagles are on a bye. So I
Right.
feel like there's a good chance that there won't be a lot of referee controversy this week.
Our own officiating crew took the week off too.
Well, then it's definitely going to be very fair because if
And
they
we're-
were reffing, say, the Washington Commanders this week, they'd probably try and give you guys a loss.
We're bringing them to Kansas City too, just so you know. So we might actually win that game.
That's not good for Mahomes, but that's where that Swifty power comes in. Anyway, that's my predictions for the week. Go ahead, Greg.
First of all, the Detroit Lions are not in the NFC East. Neither
No,
are
the
the
NFC.
Chargers.
I meant the NFC. Sorry.
Love you, Randy. God, I love you. I think
I'm still confused.
I'm very confused. That's why I'm going to keep talking. Just it will all go away in a second, Chris. I promise you.
All right.
I'm gonna take Dallas to roll. I think the Giants are in trouble. I don't think you're getting any of your offensive line back unless I'm wrong with that. I think what you should do and what you're going to try to do is keep it on the ground and just run, pound the rock with Barkley. I don't like that spread though. 16.5 seems a little high to me. I think Dallas will win, but the Giants will cover. I like Seattle at home against Washington. I have no idea what you're talking about, Randy. I think Seattle is a good team. They're actually winning the NFC West, tied with San Francisco right now.
That's not winning.
They've winning the NFC West. Yes,
You said
That
tied.
is-
they're tied, but I think they have. Well, whatever. Just, I think
Man,
that
look who's
Randy
stuttering
effect.
now. Look who's
The Randy
stuttering now.
effect.
Ba-doo-ba-doo-ba-doo-ba-doo.
out of control.
That
This
all.
guy is out of control. Got me off my game. But yeah, they're a good team. They're not a bad team. Seattle is a good team. Actually, Seattle has the same record as the Cowboys, just so you're aware. But I think that line is fair. I think they're gonna.
Thank you.
I think they're gonna beat Washington probably by 7. The defense expected, like Randy said, I think the Giants are going to put up some points. I think they're going to put up more than 10. So I think Randy's going to lose a point on that one. First to score, I think both of them are games out west. So, like Mike said, it could be a kick return. Could be a defense interception. That should be interesting. Rushing yards, I think Barkley is going to win that. I think what they're going to do is just try to pound the ball and run the clock. I think that's their only chance to beat Dallas, to be 100% honest with you. And I'm going to be curious to see what Dallas does on the after week, if you will. I don't know if they're pissed off. I've been listening to a lot of sports talk radio, and I've been hearing a lot about moral victories.
Not like Randy.
Yeah, I know, and I think maybe that's just how
I'm
the
happy
Dallas
the way we lost that game.
Cowboys fans are feeling. I don't know. I would not be happy. But then again, I don't follow a team that's more than a 5-hour plane ride away for a home game. I just jump in my car like Paul. We travel 45 minutes, and there we are. Chris, you got a little bit further of a drive, but you're close enough, so I give you that. But these fans that are
2 hours.
Cowboys fans that are from West Philadelphia and all over the country, I just don't get it.
2 time zones over.
Yeah, I don't understand it. But that's my predictions for the week. Paul,
Guess I
what you
can-
got? Or Chris?
Yeah, I guess I can go. I do agree with you with the Giants Cowboys game. I think we're going to run the ball a lot. That's why I didn't understand why you thought Pollard had the best chance to
It was
do
a joke.
No, him. He
Oh.
said something about it. I don't know if he
did
was
not
joking.
say something about that.
He said
Come on.
NFC East like 12 times. That's all he said.
Yeah, I thought you.
Come on now.
I thought you said something about Pollard going against a weaker defense or something, but I was dude. You had me all confused.
Come on now.
But anyway, I think we'll run the ball. I think DeVito is going to start. I don't think he'll. I mean, it'll be simple. Some of the guys are back. Andrew Thomas is back.
Okay.
Neil is back. We are
Gotcha.
getting them back. That's the sad part about. I think him going down because it really finally got some players back and then he goes down. So and Waller's out anyway. He's out I think he's on IR too. But Giants, I mean, I don't think they're going to score the first touchdown or the fastest touchdown. They'll be lucky to score a touchdown. I don't think they'll score a lot of points. I do think they can score 13. 16.5 is a lot. I can't. I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't cover. If they do, it's still not going to be that far off. They're still going to lose by double digits. They might get a point. They might run the ball, take control of the time a little bit, keep them under 28. That would be nice. I'd like to get some moral victories, get some points in this wheel.
There you go. Moral victories.
Yeah. I mean, I have nothing else to look forward to. I'd like to get some points to stay in the competition. Washington, Seattle. I'm going to go with the Seahawks. I disagree with Randy again, and I agree with Gregg again. I think they are a good team. I think they're not very happy with the loss. I think the additional Leonard Williams, I mean, that is going to eventually gel and be a good situation. That's a big plus for them. I think they'll win the game. I think they'll cover. I don't know if they'll have to score 27 points. That could be a low scoring game. That could be a 21-13 game, something like that. I don't think it has to be, what was it, minus 27, Mike? They have to stay. Washington has to keep them under 27 to get a point.
7.5, buddy.
Yeah, I think Washington can get a point there, but I think they'll lose the game and Seattle will cover. As for the spinning the wheel, rushing yards, I'm just going to go with Saquon because I need points. I hope he runs all over you. Pretty much that's what they're going to have to do, and you know it's coming. So your defense is good. You should be able to minimize that. The prop pick, defense, I think we can hold them under 28. I think we might get a point there. Hope to.
And hold Oakland.
I know.
I think
maybe
we're better than Oakland.
No, but it doesn't work like that. I mean,
Dallas, too.
you know that, though. You know it doesn't work like that. Jets
know.
beat the Eagles. We almost beat the Jets.
One thing I do know is
we beat the Commanders.
Whenever you and Gregg agree on something, usually it ends up not being true. So keep agreeing in Seattle. Keep believing in Seattle.
I'm going to have to agree with him on there. And then as for the second host, what was it? The first TD, Dallas will probably get that. They'll probably get the fastest touchdown. And then, like I said, the defensive, keeping the team under. I think Washington and Giants could both get a point there.
All right. Thanks for the segue there, Chris. So we'll go right into
we're all vets here now, boys. Let's go.
My picks. I actually do think that Seattle is going to beat the Redskins. Really hard playing out there. It's not the same team they were 10 years ago, but it's still a really tough, loud place to play. They got absolutely abused and humiliated against Baltimore. I think it was like 37-3. Looked absolutely terrible. I do think that they pull it out. I do think we can get the point, though. They haven't scored 27 points since week 3. Scoring points is not really how they're winning games with like blowing people out. They're winning like 20-10 games and things like that. So I think we can get the point there, but I do think we lose the game. As far as the prop bets, I think the fastest touchdown, I think that's going to be the Cowboys. And I would like to mention that I think the Eagles are going to score a touchdown before the Giants do, even with the bye. As far as the defense, I think we already went there. What was the other one we got? What we got, Mike?
Did you miss
rushing yards?
Rushing
yards. Yeah, no, I definitely think it's going to be Saquon there. If we were to stick to our game plan, like
all
Randy
green
says,
except for Randy.
Yeah, if we would stick to the game plan like Randy says and run the ball even more, I think Brian Robinson's got a chance for that. But right now it's going to be Saquon because they literally have one play. It's like playing like Tecmo Bowl or whatever it was and just running Bo Jackson. You just play one
100%.
play and that's it. So
that's funny.
As far as the game, I definitely think it's going to be a shellacking. I don't think it's going to be 40-0. I do think that the Cowboys cover the spread. I think it's going to be rough. The unfortunate thing is both our games are at the exact same time on the same network. So unless you're literally at a bar, you can't see it or you have the package. So that's unfortunate. I'm going to see if maybe I can go out somewhere so I can watch both of those together. But, those are my predictions. I think the Eagles have a great shot, much better shot than the Giants do this week. So I'll stick with that.
Good predictions by everybody. That's a little bit of a short second half, so I'm going to throw two more things out there. First, I want to selfishly talk about the Bears for just a second because this ties into the NFC East greatly for me this week. We got Chris. Well, first of all, you guys know I've been saying for weeks I'm hoping to get the 1 and 2 picks at this point. I was on that early on, and now we got Chris coming in here with only 2 wins. Ever the
This ain't the
optimist, Chris
this ain't the
Topher
kind of
Peterson, who
spoiling I
thinks
want to
his team's
do.
going to win every week, no matter what. Daniel Jones going to throw for 300 yards, and now he's saying they're not going to get another win all year long. So that's super disappointing to me, Chris. I
They'd
need
be
you
lucky
guys to
to,
win at
man.
least 2 more games this year because we're probably going to win one this weekend against Carolina. And secondly, and this leads me into my second topic that I want to talk about for just a minute here. Paul, at the trade deadline, given the Bears one of his team's best players, I want to talk about winners and losers from the trade deadline for just a second. I'm surprised none of you guys touched on this because most of your teams were pretty active at the trade deadline. I'm going to start with
Not
Paul's
mine.
team since he's screwing up my Bears, giving up a second round pick. We learned nothing from the Chase Claypool debacle last year. We give Washington a second round pick for a guy that's pretty good, but he was going to be a free agent this year, and we could have had him for nothing. So
I
Paul's
mean,
team wins the
I,
trade deadline, at
I mean,
least from
what was it, Halloween night? I told you that the next morning we weren't going to have either of those 2 guys on our team. Good chance
You
of that.
called it.
I mean, I did think that Montez Sweat was going to the Falcons, but the second that the Bears were on the line and were like, "We'll take a second round pick," I think that was a done
yeah,
deal. And
no
you
brainer.
got the deal done, and you got exactly the deal I said. I said just give them each $100 million. I'm completely fine with that. A lot of weird stuff came out about Chase Young after that. I don't like how all that stuff normally comes out about players after that, trashing
Yeah,
them and stuff like that about him being like a diva or whatever. Oh well, it just makes the freaking Niners so much more dangerous. That's not helping anybody on this call. No one. But yeah, no, I was pretty happy about that. I'm sure Chris would love to have those picks to take the entire offensive line from
well,
like Iowa.
let's move on to
Iowa.
Chris for a second because I think Chris was also a winner at the trade deadline. For Leonard Williams, a guy who's 29 in a contract year, probably wasn't coming back. He's got
Definitely
1.5
wasn't.
sacks on the season. You got second and fifth rounders for this guy.
Yep.
That's a steal. You
It's
guys are building for the future right
absolutely.
now. That is a great deal for the Giants, giving you a winner as well there. Greg, you guys were a week earlier, but the safety pickup, is it Byard or Bayard?
Byard, I
Bye.
believe.
Byard, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought so. That's a
How
great
was
pickup for you
how did
guys. I know you touched
how
on
did
it last week.
no one knew who he was, but he's a Pro Bowler. Like we
Yeah.
all agreed, nobody's heard of him, but it was like he's a
He's
Pro Bowler. I mean, he's
Nobody
doing
knows
something right.
defense as much.
He's a safety. We'll
I
say
knew his
that.
name. I didn't know a lot about him. Dallas just got to pick. Oh, Mike's. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Mike.
Yeah,
You're
I mean, I
rolling.
want to just point out. I think you guys all three were winners. The trade deadline's a big thing for me every year. Greg knows that. I'm every sport. I love the trade deadline, and it's something I track every year. And I just thought all three of you did very well for yourselves. Randy's team did nothing, but it just proved Jerry Jones' quote from a couple weeks that we talked
Yeah.
about.
Yeah.
He
He just
doesn't make
picked.
calls. He's going to listen for calls to come in, and I guess none came in this year, but it proved that quote from earlier a couple weeks ago true.
There may be one for Trey Lance coming in sometime, but
Here we.
Martavius Bryant, you just signed him tonight. Did you guys see that?
Yeah.
no, I
Saw
did
that.
Yeah.
not.
You need another weapon to beat the Eagles now, maybe.
Yep.
He hasn't played since 2018 though.
Really?
Or 19 or 20. I think it was
Holy
20. I
cow.
know.
18.
So,
Was it really
18.
18? I thought it was
Yes.
20, but
Mike, I
yeah.
got a question for you. Who do you want
Yeah, I don't
number
get
1
it.
and number 2?
Caleb Williams and Marvin Harrison Jr.
So,
I would,
Mike,
if we had the number 1 pick, I would do the same thing we did last year. I would drop down a couple spots. I would try to pick up some more first rounders. And I personally, I don't know. It depends. It also depends on what Fields does these last couple weeks.
well, Mike, I mean,
But
here's my thing. I look at your quarterback situation, and you got Justin Fields, and you got this guy who I think is going to be pretty good. this Byron kid or whatever his name
No,
is.
you're tripping.
Tyson Bagent.
Bagent,
tripping.
that's it. Maybe I am. He won 2 games and looked crappy in one, but he's. I mean, you're playing Carolina this week. It's like the Cowboys and Cooper Rush last year. He turns out he's good chance he's going to be 3-1. Do you really sit that guy? If you got him and Justin Fields on the bench, do you really want Caleb Williams? I don't know.
I don't want a Division II quarterback from Shepherd University quarterbacking my team.
You might say that, but he's a proven winner. He has done awesome in
I agree with
Division
that.
II. I think he
I
could have
agree.
easily been a Division I quarterback. He chose not to. I just feel like he needs a shot. And I feel like why not give him a shot the rest of the year? If it starts to turn really south, you've always got Fields, but if he keeps winning games, why would you try and go after Caleb Williams and you could fill massive holes like Marvin Harrison Jr. or whatever? I don't know.
I
My
mean, he's
personal
not
opinion.
exactly winning games. We have 2 wins on the year, and he was in for one of them. So it's not like he's out there
No, he
I mean,
won
yeah,
winning
you
games.
got to let it play out a
we
little
we
bit. You
lost
got to
this
let
week.
it.
We lost. He's had 2 starts, and we lost to the Saints this week.
Yeah, you're right. He was up early. You're right. I'm stupid again. I pulled a Paul there.
You said it.
Yeah.
Detroit's in the NFC East too, Randy.
Yeah, I know. I was like,
I meant the NFC. They're the number 2 team
The
in the
North.
NFC
I
right
know.
now.
I know what
And
you
the
meant.
Cowboys play at 4:25 this weekend. Just put it on your
Yeah.
calendar.
Very cute. Very cute. You guys are all
Eastern
freaking-
time.
Ah,
Eastern
All
time.
right, I think that's our time for this week. We will be back next week to talk some trash on week 10 and start looking forward to week 11.
Good luck,
some
girls.
clean football this week.